to the Engine Builder Show. Today's episode, our topic will be how to spot a leader worth following in business. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in and enjoy the show. Good morning, everybody.
There was always a ton to learn. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well and enjoying. We're almost on our way to spring. I think spring is a week away, or a week or so away officially here. And I know as we kind of come to the close of the first quarter, there's always plenty to do. There's always plenty to work on. And one of the things that I remind myself of, my team and my clients, is that everything rises and falls on leadership. You're not going to be able to be successful in the long run unless you have a solid foundation of leadership in yourself and in the team around you. And you're also going to struggle to have, good input and good mentors to follow if you don't, understand some of the principles of leadership behind that. And so, just like Jethro said, we're going to talk about how you can spot a leader worth following. And I'm just going to share some of the things that I've noticed and paid attention to over the years that I hope will be helpful for you to think through as you analyze and evaluate, who you should really be following and listening to from a leadership perspective. For me, I'm grateful to say that I've, from a very young age, like 12, 13, 14, had a lot of training and influence and input around leadership. There's a great man that I still look up to and still take his advice. He's one of my longtime coaches and mentors named Doug. And we started studying John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership. Again, I think when I was probably 12 or 13, long ago. And the thing with leadership, I think, as in many other skills, is it's something that you can continue to focus on, grow in, and improve for the rest of your life. There's not an arrival point. There's just more skill, more experience, and more things that you can pick up and learn about it. And part of my journey of aiming to become an increasingly better leader has been observing what I believe are traits in other leaders that we can look at and learn from and discover who's worth following. Because there's definitely been times in my entrepreneurial career where I followed people who I found out weren't worth following, that really weren't, effective leaders, that had a lot of issues and ended up just steering me in the wrong direction and costing me a lot of time and money and relationships that I wish I, wouldn't have lost. And so it's really important to be conscious and thoughtful about who we look up to as leaders and who we define as a leader, worth following. And so three of the things that I pay attention to as I'm looking at a leader that I want to follow or that is developing, that I want to, invest in more, just, a leader worth following, is number one is I believe that strong leaders are not reactionary. They don't allow whatever's going on in the moment, or whatever pain or discomfort or whatever disruption or whatever surprises come their way. They don't allow those things to put them in a reactionary state where they snap and respond, or they react in a negative way. That they don't, in my experience and opinion, strong leaders don't have the need to just jump in and solve things, or don't have the need to just react and respond immediately when something goes wrong, or when somebody attacks them, or when there's something going on. One of the things that Rachel has said to me for years, and I believe as well, is she says that insecurity is loud and confidence is quiet. And a confident leader can be quiet, can sit with whatever's going on, can observe what's being said to them or about them, can observe a situation, and they don't have to react and respond and get loud about what's going on. They can, with confidence, sit calmly and quietly, and then be responsive instead of reactive. And being responsive versus being reactive is such a key part of being an effective leader, in my experience. So I always look and observe anybody that is in the spotlight, or anybody that I'm considering following or taking their advice. And if they're a leader in their space, it's one of the first things I look for is, do they react when somebody calls them out or says something? when people disagree with them, when there's a tough situation or a challenge? Are they reactionary, or are they thoughtful and responsive? The second thing is, an easy way to spot an effective leader is just to ignore them for a minute and look at their community, look at the people around them. And when you're in the community of a strong leader, in my experience, you're going to experience a lot of positivity, a lot of support, people that are willing to help you. You're going to feel the energy of the leader in the community that they lead and that they serve. And there's been times even where I'm not sure about a leader. I'm not sure about somebody that I'm considering working with or following or taking their advice, because I just don't know them well, or I haven't, been able to have enough one-on-one time, or I haven't read enough of their books, or I haven't been exposed to enough of their content directly. But I can easily evaluate who they are as a leader by just spending time in their community and seeing, is it a positive place? Is it supportive? Is it where I can get the help and guidance I need? Or is it a community where relationships matter? Is it a community that aligns with my values? Because if I look at the community that a leader leads, it's really easy to see their reflection of who they are and what they believe. And so that's a great way to evaluate if you're following somebody, even if you're following them online, or you're just in whatever community space they're in. Productive, positive, supportive communities are a reflection of a strong, productive, and supportive leader. Communities where there's a lot of arguing and backbiting and complaining and sarcasm and just that type of behavior is a reflection of how the leader, what the leader allows and how the leader behaves. And so that's something that is a really easy way to measure the effectiveness and really, the impact of a leader. In my experience, is just look at their community, see how their community behaves, see what that community is like. And that's a great reflection of who that leader is as a person. The third thing that I always look for in when I'm saying, okay, is this a leader worth following, somebody that I want to, associate with, that I want to learn from, that I want to take their advice, and there's somebody that I'm going to trust to give me some guidance and input in my life, is, are they transparent and open and honest about the mistakes that they make? And do they own up to those mistakes and apologize? And one example of this that really stood out to me was my friend, Alex Charfin. He was at an event with me, and the speaker at the event was talking about how it's so important to honor our emotions and, be present when we are feeling hurt or discouraged, and to be present for our team and help them when they're processing through emotions, or when they're dealing with guilt and pain and things that, are emotional. And I could see that it just really hit home with my friend Alex. And right after that session, he ended up going and doing a live and burning a t-shirt that he had sent out to his community that said, forget your feelings, just focus on, getting your work done, is essentially the message of the t-shirt. And he realized that, and it was a shirt from years ago, it was so far beyond where he is today, but he realized that he was being insensitive and not caring about people's feelings, and that he had actually put a message out there that said, disregard your feelings and just move forward. And in realizing that, he apologized to his community. He was transparent about what he learned. And it was just another moment. And there's been many in my relationship with him where I just came to respect him even more as a leader, because he was transparent and he owned up to something that he felt he didn't do well in the past, and he apologized for it and was transparent about it and moved forward. And so strong leaders own up to their mistakes. They're transparent about the things that have happened. They're just going to be real and upfront and honest and candid about where they are. And that with that type of transparency, with that kind of heart, they have the ability to grow. And so they set an example for their community on how their community can grow. And so I think it's important that we just continue to evaluate the folks that we're following, whether it's virtually through their books, through their online content, however we connect with them, or if it's in person, or even if it's the people that we work with. I think it's important to evaluate and say, is this really an effective leader? Somebody that's worth following, somebody that I should really pay attention to and put a lot of stock in what they're saying, or are they a leader that I'm just not comfortable following? Because there are leaders who get into leadership positions and don't, in my opinion, really take care of their community. And so again, just the three things that I pay attention to and remember is, one, is the leader reactionary, or do they come from a place of being, calm and thoughtful and responsive? That's the difference. The second thing is, if you're not sure how a leader really is in person, you can often just look at their community and you'll see the behavior and culture and things that are allowed or not allowed inside their community. That's a good reflection of who they are as a leader. Because if you see kindness and support and love and just all the positive things that you want to see in a community, then that's, in my experience, that's how the leader behaves. If you see sarcasm and backbiting and complaining and just issues and cliques and factions inside of a community and issues, then that's often comes from a place of insecurity or issues that the leader still needs to work through. So again, just look at the leader's community to see, what kind of leader they are. And then the third thing, like we just talked about, is I believe that it's wise and important to follow leaders who are willing to be transparent and upfront about the mistakes they make, that are willing to apologize when they do things wrong, and they're willing to take ownership for where things are at in their life and in their community and with those that they lead. And so as you keep those things in mind, I'm confident that that's going to help you really spot, the leaders that you should follow that are, aligned with your beliefs. And it'll also help you, distance yourself or just leave the communities of leaders who aren't in alignment with what you believe and where you want to go. So I hope that's useful to you. I appreciate you taking time to tune in today. If you have any questions or anything, you can message me or drop those in the comments, or you can reach out at businessmarketingengine.com. And I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show.